also what terrorism
Mm-hmm.
terrorism means. Um, and so many people in community don't suffer in the hands of so many people, especially those abroad.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give orders, may this happen. We don't
Yeah.
see online
Mm-hmm.
people. Now they will claim say they talk about pigeon, they will claim say they use coded words like
Mm-hmm.
Gary them and this and
Mm-hmm.
that. They will get advocates like you, where if you go for UN or
Mm-hmm.
any of these organization, them tell them say, okay, this is actually what this guy is saying. This guy is actually responsible for this.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I think say at this point in time, this is about 7 to 8 years,
Mm-hmm.
we'll begin for us to see international community issue arrest or maybe arrest or even try judge some people them when it will happen, because we are like at the end of the day, this
The debate has shifted also. Why do I say the debate has shifted? Um, Around between 2016, 2017, 2019, to be honest, the struggle, those had a high moral ground
mm-hmm,
because at that time, one person was the perpetrator of the state
mm-hmm,
and the others were the victims.
mm-hmm,
But when also the perpetrator or those who were supposed to prosecute a war of liberation
mm-hmm,
became our perpetrators, they lost the moral high ground.
mm-hmm,
When they started chopping hands and limbs,
mm-hmm,
kidnapping people for ransom,
mm-hmm,
cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment,
mm-hmm.
they will bury people alive, they will behead people alive. They lost that moral high ground in the eyes of the international community. And get it from here, I've spoken to a lot of people in it. They lost it.
Mm-hmm.
They lost it because the egregious crimes, human rights violations that they commit, the crime against humanity that they commit is appalling.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And the world is not sleeping. Advocacy grinds slowly. I can tell you from authoritative sources that there are some of them living out of the US who cannot fly into the US. They're on a
Mm-hmm.
no fly ban or a fly ban. They
Mm-hmm.
cannot get into the US. There are some in the US who are being prosecuted, who are being investigated.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And there are others who I've seen that people are mounting pressure for the linchpin who lives in Norway,
Mm-hmm.
for him to be indicted or charges brought against him for crimes against humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them, their attitude is bestial, their
Yep.
attitude is inhuman and inhumane.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not pretend because they are one of us. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? I stand on the fact that any violation committed by anybody should be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't forget, when somebody gives order that somebody is beheaded, an Anglophone is beheaded in Bamenda and Boya,
Mm-hmm.
that Anglophone who is beheaded has family also.
Of course.
Not because you are supporting a so-called failed revolution,
Mm-hmm.
because they have derailed it. It's more of personal gain. Not because you are supporting it means that you should be blinded to the fact that they just killed one of your brothers. You understand? And you cannot come to liberate me and you end up becoming the violator.
Yeah.
You understand? You cannot be the one who is claiming that you are there to fight for me.
Yeah.
At the same time, Wole Soyinka wrote a book, The Swamp Dwellers, and I have a very good line where when things are not work, and Soyinka said, "They told the Kadiye, is it of any use changing one slaw for another?" You understand? That's basically what is happening. You understand? Is it of any use changing the military for the boys who have arms?
Mm-hmm.
They are worst. They are worst. Can you imagine that they don't even respect the dead? They've seized corpses from people. People pay monies to go and bury their brothers and sisters. It's true that the state owes a duty to protect the civilian population, their lives and their property. The state has its role. And I will tell you that because also of our balanced reporting, people can criticize what they say, but I'll tell you, we run a very professional organization. You understand? And our reporting has met the test of time. That's why the US State Department, the UN, Amnesty International would always cite our report. That's why we couldn't get some of these awards, because they have vetted our reports. And don't forget, in another life also, I used to work in the UN as a human rights officer.
Yeah.
So it's not somebody who goes live on Facebook would tell me professionally what is monitoring and reporting it. The problem with us is that if I monitor and I report what suits you, I become an extraterrestrial person in your eyes. The next day, when I report what you have done, which is condemnable, you insult me and insult my family. But as I always say, it doesn't change anything. There's a time when accountability for gross violations, each and everybody who has contributed would be held accountable. Be you a member of the government or a member of the non-state armed groups. And I think that everybody who respects humanity should clamor for an account for the accountability and an end to impunity. It might be. I used to work at the International Criminal Tribunal for Sierra Leone. The special court was created to try those who committed atrocities during the civil war in Sierra Leone. And there were people in government, people in the military, and people and the rebels that were tried. So all the parties that were involved in this conflict were tried. And I expect that someday will happen in Cameroon. There would be no peace for the wicked. Get me? There will be no peace. It might not be today, but someday these people who have committed this mayhem will be held accountable.
I really wish that they could come really, really quick. No one don't die before I see the people that
I know people you call federalists. They are all traitors.
Agbor, Balla, and the rest.
No, he's a traitor. He said, the biggest mistake of my leadership, the biggest mistake and what I really regret is that during the period of the revolution, we did not kill all of these people. It was a huge mistake.
But if you don't vote, what are you going to do in the street? So to me, I first of all encourage people to vote. Go out, to register first, and then get ready when the time comes to vote. So you have to be realistic also. And everybody complains that Elekam, nothing would change. But I think there's a definition of insanity that is said doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. How do we think out of the box? What have we been doing that has not been working? How do we find a way to make the things work? You understand? Because so if every time we have been telling people to go and register and vote, okay, and they are not doing it, how do we use, for example, social media? How do we use entertainers to do skits or influencers to encourage people? How do we organize musical fairs? For example, we organize a musical event in Boya. Bring in the artists that young people like, but the only condition is that you have a voter's card to get in, for example. These are innovative ways. And then look at the last election was in 2018. Okay, then there's an election in 2025. So 18 to 25 is like 7 years. So between 7 years and the voters' age is 20. So those who were 13 in 18, those were 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 7 different ages are eligible to vote. That is a lot. What do they like? Are you going to use TikTok or Instagram to get them? Are you going to the kind of artists you will not bring? For example, I'm a Fela fan, or probably a Harry Nkongho fan, a Bona fan, probably to convince them. You look at the Salatiels, for example. You look at the Renews, for example. You look at the Kosis, for example. They are relatable to them. You look at the skit makers, the Auntie Felix, the senior pastors, and the co. You understand that they could do for them to do skits to that extent, which would help. Okay, so that is an angle, because now you would have a lot of people register, and then the opposition also. How do they build like the Union for Change that was built around Frundi in the 1992 elections? How do you build beyond political parties? Because the thing in Cameroon is that everybody thinks you have to be a politician. A politician is the way, the true, and the life. You understand that? But how do you build with civil society? And then if you are building, there are things that you have to look at. There is what I would call likability. There is what I would call electability, or winnability and governability. There are people that we like. Can they be elected? And if they're elected, can they govern? You ask yourself. So you put those criteria when you are trying to get a candidate or candidates, like, okay, let's look at the way the country is. Perhaps those in power, they might want to give up power, but they are finding a way out. You understand? Do you need a revolution or an evolution? Okay, you might say for yourself, for the time being, We need a revolution, but for the time being, we need an evolution because we don't want to alienate those who have the money and the military might. I'll give you an example. South Africa. What happened in South Africa? ANC realized that they had the numbers, but they could not defeat one of the strongest military forces in the world, the apartheid regime.
Yeah.
The apartheid government realized that they had the strength, but the way the world was going, you know, it was time for them to change.
Yeah.
So they had to find a win-win situation where they did power sharing. You understand? And nobody had to, like, nobody lost face. We have to transpose that, you understand, within our context. Why is difficult? Because a lot of people are very emotional. You understand? We want to take over. We don't want to do anything with the BR regime. It's not possible for a regime that has been in power for 42 years unless you are prepared to have a revolution. And how many of them are prepared to have a revolution? How many of them are prepared for an uprising? And don't forget, an uprising comes with a lot of consequences also.
That's true.
People being killed, there's looting, and it might grind the whole system. So you need to look at your own country, understand your reality. Who is that leader who can mobilize 5 million people in Cameroon? It's a bit difficult.
What you think about the next president, and you said you say for you prefer, or you think an Anglophone president, it's time for an Anglophone president. You stand on that?
Yes, I 100% think, and I religiously believe that it's time for an Anglophone to be president.
Ma ask the question, Prezi, because say na Anglophone, or because you know some few Anglophones who think say they be competent?
It's a combination of many things. A state is made up of different groups of people, sociological composition. Cameroon has 10 regions, more than 250 tribes. Okay, and also you have to also try to be realistic the way when in looking at the state, and it's a way of also winning the minds and hearts of the people of the Southwest and Northwest who feel that they've been alienated from the central government, mainstream central government, who feel that there's a need for rotational presidency, you know, whether you call it zoning or rotational presidency between the Francophones and the Anglophones. And because these are historically two peoples who came together to form what we call Cameroon today. So you could share power. I know some people will say it's democracy, you allow the best candidate to win, but nothing stops the political parties to put in Anglophone candidates when is the time for an Anglophone president, and which I think is the next one. And you see, I'm not just saying that because somebody's an Anglophone, he should be president. No, they are competent, qualified persons who can lead the country. You understand? I mean, there are many. Okay, there are many people who can lead the country, and also it would go a long way also to make the Anglophones feel, you know, that they truly belong, you know, and it gives hope. You know, it gives hope to other Anglophones and to other people that this is truly Africa in miniature. You know, this is truly a country where we don't only speak about the unity, the strength of the two people coming together, but we actually see how it works in real life. But the issue that I'm trying to look at it is also, are the Anglophones ready? Because that's the thing, you know. Are we as a people ready to have an Anglophone president? The way we drag our leaders on social media, the way we destroy any potential person, you know, it might make the Francophones a bit weary, even if they want to encourage. I met a lot of Francophones who think that an Anglophone will make a better president. I'm talking about leaders of political parties, leaders of civil societies, and other opinion leaders who are Francophone. The thing that, but they ask me the question, you Anglophones, who are you, the people you are proposing? Because we know that you yourself will try to destroy them. That's not enough reason. And what I'm expecting is that frontline Anglophone political leaders and civil society and others opinion leaders, they have to sit down and make an assessment of their relationship with the state or with the and start asking themselves question: what happens in the next regime? What is going to be our common position? The North leaners are already talking about that the presidency has to go back to the North. You know, they are already building their alliance. But you can say, if you're not building an alliance, if you're not working as we speak, I've tried to get a few Anglophone leaders, talk to them, come together. As we speak, I don't know anyone that is working again towards them coming together. But others are working. The people in the Western region are working, the Northerners are working. And if you are not preparing yourself, you don't blame anybody. So it's incumbent on us also. It's easy to say it's a time for an Anglophone president. Are we working towards ensuring that we have that person who has a capacity to lead, who can reconcile the country? Are we working to make sure that a lot of people are registered? Are we working to make sure the fact that the Francophones can be convinced that the way we mobilize, we think that, are we working to build unity so that they see that, okay, if we have an Anglophone president, it could help to unite the country. You cannot be uniting the country when you cannot unite your own people. So there's a lot of work that has to be done, you know. I'm currently also working with a group of Anglophone youths, like 20 of them, to see how for them to know how or learn how to work in synergy, to build across their tribal and regional divide, and for them to see themselves as one, that they have a common interest, you know, and that what brings them together is stronger than what divides them. I mean, that when I mean them, us, you understand? So it's a Herculean task, but it's not impossible. You need people who can help, who can strategize. And this is not something that you sit to and be ranting on social media. It's more burning the midnight candles, working and coming up with a blueprint and talking to people and see how you can build a strong team that if you are negotiating with other Francophone opposition leaders or civil society, you can explain to them why candidate ABC, who are Anglophones, are better for the interest of the country for the time being. You understand? It might not be in the long run, but for the time being, we think that it would be nice if an Anglophone is president.
You run for president? You remember, so you know, give any politically correct answer. You answer the question.
Yes, I'll answer. Man is a political animal. That's the first thing. Meaning that you are open for opportunities. 2025, am I running? No. Am I running for 2025? No. Why? Because I don't think I'm ready. And also you have to be honest with yourself. It entails a lot. It entails a lot of finances to raise that I don't have. You have to have a discussion with your family, with your kids, with your friends, that you want to run, and you have to build a team. 2025 is 1 year plus. So for the time being, where I'm sitting today, I'll tell you that I'm not running.